10 years ago, our family sold our engineering business, and I was looking around for business opportunities, and a friend of mine said he's got somebody looking for an investor in a wine business, not in the Hunter Valley, but I got into that and went on the board, and we had a lot of fun getting into the wine industry. And we've now sold that, but then Hungerford Hill came on the market, and it had everything going for it. First of all, it was in the Hunter Valley, which is a great site, so easy to get to from Sydney, which is where I live, and yet the wines were coming from cool climate areas which I'd never even heard of. Hilltops, Tumbarumba especially, and I love those styles of wine. So I thought, well, it's got both of the things that I love. It's got the accessibility and these great wine styles. So I put my hand in my pocket and, with the help of my family, bought Hungerford Hill.
Hungerford Hill is a 40-year-old company. We started in the Hunter Valley, first vintage around 1969. I think they had their first wines on the market in 1970. In Australian terms, we have quite a lot. We've got 4 decades of history that represents not only the Hunter, but the one thing that Hungerford Hill's always been very conscious of is representing the best varieties from the premier regions of Australia.
The heritage is great, and it gives us a trustworthiness that people want with wine. They know it comes from people who are going to deliver quality wines that will last the distance. I'm more interested in the direction that we're going more than the past. The future direction is, to me, most important.
We've found a new temptress in New South Wales, and that's Tumbarumba Chardonnay. Tumbarumba is just something new, something interesting, something that winemakers can really get their teeth into and forge a path through. And that's why I find it so interesting. And I've been making Tumbarumba Chardonnay since 2000, and I'm just absolutely in love with the variety and the style that Tumbarumba makes. I'm convinced that Tumbarumba makes the best Chardonnay in Australia. In its year, I mean, every dog has its day, but in its year, it is absolutely fabulous. That we're talking about fruit that is harvested in the cool of the hills, and when it comes down and we process it into juice, the juice glows green. It is just the most beautiful colour, and the acid's natural. It's fresh and crisp. The sugar level is just right in the good years, and the flavours, deep, very, very, very tight and deep, and so much to yield over the years. And we've got Chardonnay styles that will live for 10 years. I mean, that's unheard of in Australia. But I mean, that is the beauty of that variety. There's a beautiful fresh seam of acid that goes right the way through that. And we try to make very particular styles that represent both, one, the variety, and two, the region. And we represent New South Wales. We've identified 3 key regions for ourselves. 1 is the Hunter Valley, 2 is Tumbarumba, and 3 is a little place called Hilltops that surrounds the town of Young, which is known for their cherries, but probably not so well known for the fantastic red grapes, particularly Shiraz and Cabernet, that they grow.
The styles of wines that we're making here, I think, is where we as a nation are wanting to go, which is more interesting wines, more subtle wines, food-friendly wines, not just a big red wine that you have with a steak dripping with blood. So that's what I'm interested in developing these styles and educating our market into a more diverse range of wine styles.
What I look for in wines that I make for Hungerford Hill is a portfolio of stories. And when I say stories, I want the Semillon from the Hunter Valley to really represent the region and the variety, and to be something that people can drink young, but also age, and really have some, really show some insight into what that is all about, and be the best style it can possibly be.
This one here's called
And that theme's pretty much represented right through the whole range. The key thing for me is not to have styles that overlap. I really want those wines to be very, very different in both the varietal characters that they show and also the textures on the palate. And I always find, with most people, it's about texture on the palate more so than aromas. And so, we had a recent example of a rosé that we're doing from the Hunter Valley, and how that should be represented, on the palate. And we decided to just give it a little bit of sweetness, just so it is different from a Semillon and different from other white wines, but also doesn't show too much red fruit like a light style red. So it really has its position in that portfolio, and a very clear position. With a white wine style palate, meaning crisp and fresh. The wines themselves, we look for delicacy, we look for elegance. I want to show strong varietal characters. I want to show good ripeness of fruit, but then I want the palate to be always pleasing, always crisp. I want it to have long flavour, but I don't want it to be cloying or hang around in the mouth. And you'll see that through all of Hungerford Hill's wines.